Hello, guys. Hi, this is Ganesh Nayak. I help finance professionals and students to excel in their career and become a better version of themselves. And I also help students preparing for competitive exams like CFA, FRM, and SCR. Today, I have with us one of our students who has already cleared actually the SCR exam in October 2023. He's going to be talking about his journey, his strategy of preparing for the exam, what all challenges he faced, and how he has been able to manage those challenges. So, Mayank, thank you very much for taking out time. And if you can give a brief to the audience about you and your work experience.
Sure. Thank you, Ganesh. So, hi, this is Mayank. So, I'm basically an industry research healthcare analyst. Apart from it, I do work on IoT and Industry 4.0. So, this is about me, and I have total nearly 8.5 years of experience as of now. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And what was the reason that you moved towards this GARP SCR certification?
So, in my organizations, I used to come across some of the sustainability topics. So, I used to kind of talk with all the service providers regarding them. And when I went go through it, I found that they are kind of struggling with this skill gap. So they don't have the required skill set. So I thought that to understand the sustainability, I should target some kind of proper approach where it should, because I was not from the sustainability background. So I
Okay,
thought to give my SCR exam. So because kind of it will streamline the way I learn and get me
okay,
know more about it. So that
okay,
was my idea.
okay, got it. And then when did you started the preparation? And did you join us immediately or was there a gap in between?
So I decided to give the exam nearly April of this year, but I just bought the book and it was kept, and till it was last 2 months, I never even opened the book. And at last 2 months, then I thought, let's give the exam next year. That time I reached you out asking your kind of suggestion if you think that it is achievable in 60 days. And you kind of said that, yeah, still, if you are able to make the time every day 2 hours, you will be able to. So that time I joined you, and then I went ahead with your notes, everything.
Okay, okay. And what was the flow of preparation? So basically, did you were watching the video and reading the textbook? How were you doing it?
So initially, I went through all the videos from chapter 1 to 8. So
Mhm.
get to know what are the content in that chapters. I didn't open the book that time. Once I am done with your videos, which gave me a fair idea what and all I am going to go through the subjects, I started with chapter 1.
Okay,
And then initially it was like it took me much time, I think 4 or 5 days to complete chapter 1, chapter 2 till chapter 8. So I did all the 8 chapters. It took me exactly 1 month that time starting. I was just doing the chapters after your video, and then the chapters. That was my initial to know where on what and all are the contents there. So that was there, and I didn't give the exams that time. It was just your videos in which you are explaining the contents that
okay.
was
And
there.
when did
Uh,
you start the question bank, the chapter wise questions?
Yes, so after I finished one time total all the 8 chapters in a month, I gave first exam of all the chapters to get to know that where am I missing still. Now, once I gave the first exam, the scores were not that great, so I need to go back again. So the thing happened is for the first time, the chapter one took like 7 to 8 days, then it reduced to 3 days. So I totally went nearly 5 times. So second time when I read, I again gave all the second exams of all the chapters.
Okay,
That helped me realize that where I'm still missing. Then I gave it third time. So every time the time to revise was reducing to the extent that nearly 15 days before the exam, it was not taking more than a day to revise a chapter. Because the every time I read the chapter, there will be something I will miss because line by line you need to read, and the question can be of any sort. Means it can be even the basic questions. So yeah, that was happening. So I
okay.
was giving exams in different
Okay.
pattern maybe.
Okay. So basically, you are just going through one first quiz for all the chapters. You understood your problems, revised those problems, went to the second quiz, and in that manner, you completed all the four quizzes. So now, by the
Yes,
time you
correct.
solved the last quiz, your accuracy must have improved.
Yes, correct.
Correct.
So
Okay.
accuracy was improved a lot. And then after 4 times, when I am done with all the tests, I did a fifth revision. And then I rewrote all the tests at one time, test 1, 2, 3, 4, that way. So yeah, it was able helping me to cover the gaps, whatever I am missing when I am reading chapters.
Okay. And you were able to dedicate 2 hours properly from the start day, that day we talked
So,
about. Almost 60 days were left, right?
yes, yes. So it was actually 59, 58 days. And yeah, I started with 2 hours, but then I found that it requires some more because if you want to be sure that you need to qualify the exam,
Hmm.
I was dedicating like I am working professional. So morning I was dedicating 1 hour and then 9 o'clock to night 12 o'clock. So it was nearly 4 hours every day I was dedicating.
Acha. Okay. Okay. Because I
So
think so you
the,
solved the question bank, the chapter wise question bank one more time full. So that might have
yes,
taken
correct.
a lot of your time
The
consumption.
time.
But what about the
Yes.
mock papers, the Fintelligent mock papers
So
and the GARP sample
yes.
paper?
Yeah. So mock papers, when I am done with 5 times of revision, I finally, it was about 10, 15 days left for me to, I started with the GAP sample papers and yeah, the sample paper questions will be quite different. So it gave me idea what kind of questions comes into picture. And when you read chapter 1 to 8 so many times, you will find a interconnection between all the chapters. So they are not a standalone, they are connected somewhere or other. So question paper I solved at last, I think when 15 days was left, I went through one by one all the questions which I am able to solve.
Okay.
And then I got into the previous sample paper from the question
2022.
bank you have given. Yes. So
Okay.
I solved that and then, yeah.
Okay. And what was the average score you were getting in those mock papers?
So the current CARP sample paper, I think I scored 64 out of 80. The 1 year previous one, the one you shared 2022 one, I was something like 58. But the mock papers, I started mock papers after the GAR sample papers. They were slightly tougher than the actual GAR papers. So it was 55 to 58 scores.
Okay.
So this is the way.
So out of 80, 55 to 58, roughly in my mocks. And then
Yes,
in the GAP
yes.
sample, it was around 60. When you went to the actual
60.
exam, how was the first half an hour?
So I reached before time, so they allowed me to kind of start the exam 15 minutes before. As you said, I didn't read the starting. Just in 1 minute, you have to accept that. I
NDA.
did that, and then we start. Yeah, so I started the exam. Uh, Starting, it was kind of nervous. Okay, means with whichever I was having doubt, I was marking it for review. But later on, it was after half an hour or 1 hour, it was in a flow. So I totally completed the total exam in 1.5 hours and I was out. So yeah.
Okay. So out of 3 hours, you had completed in 1.5 hour, everything.
Yes, yeah. So half hours I was kind of nervous. So I did my first time of all the 80 questions in 45 minutes. Then I went through all the
Oh,
review questions. So total I had kept review 6 to 7 questions. And the thing happened is when think I think more on that question, I made those questions wrong. So 6 to 7 questions which I have reviewed. When I came back, I found that I have done those only wrong. And I was kind of expecting that I should get more than 65 kind of. That was my
wow.
expectations.
But
No.
you're not afraid that, okay, exam is 3 hours, I'm leaving in between. I could have utilized the
So
time like that.
yeah, so actually from the starting engineering MBA, I had a fear that whenever I think more, I do it wrong. So at first shot, what I can give is I give and then I get out. So because
Okay.
it is fresh in the mind when you go through the first time, if you start thinking, kind of dissecting, and then I go it all wrong. That is what I did with 78 questions, which I think it was wrong. So
Okay.
yeah, that was there.
But at what was the difficulty level overall for the GAP paper, actual exam paper?
So yeah, so I think CARP sample paper is nearly same level. It is the same level. I think some questions were tough. Some questions came from GAP sample paper, maybe 3 or 4 direct questions,
Okay.
but uh, there were kind of tricky questions also. You need to go in depth. But I will say about GAP sample paper that if you are going through GAP sample, you are covering all the chapters. Because they will give you at the bottom which chapter, what is the concept you are going through it, and you need to cover in depth. That is there.
Okay. Okay. And then were the questions very lengthy in the actual exam?
I won't say all the questions were lengthy. Some were quite lengthy. So you,
Okay.
But thing is, when the questions are lengthy, I used to leave the top half of it. I used to see the only the bottom part, and many a times the top half was not making. It was just a background, and the bottom was
Okay.
the main question. So because seeing the big questions, I used to kind of get nervous. Okay, this long, how to read fully, and then it will make you kind of confused. So first read the bottom part, you will come to know what is the concept, and sometimes you don't even need the upper part to respond the question.
Okay.
That was
Okay. Now, the you talked about the difficulty, you talked about the lengthy part, and you also said that the time management was not an issue. So when you came out of the exam, what was the confidence level? And was there a number in your mind that, okay, I'll get this much correct?
so I was expecting 65 out of 80 to be correct when I came out of the exam, but there was other view was running inside my mind that if I can score 65, the others may score more. So it's always a competition
Relative.
percentile relative. So there was kind of okay, I am scoring more, but it doesn't guarantee that I will pass because the pass percentage varies on how others have given the exam.
Right.
So that
Right.
was there, but I left it out. Means 65 was a good score, I felt overall.
Okay. Now the results are out. You have cleared the exam. What has been the reaction of
Yes.
people, especially your office colleagues or people who know you have prepared for this exam?
Yeah. So, in my colleague, many were knowing about the exams. They were planning to give the exams, but it requires so much time that with working, it is quite tough to kind of crack it in the first kind. So they are kind of asking that how did you prepare, what and all did you follow, all those things. Regarding my family members, they were not knowing much, so I need to explain them the brief about how it is important, the
Yeah.
way it is going to shape our future, that the background, because quite relatively new area
Yes.
than what the people work, so they need to know the background and how it is all things are going on.
Right. So
So yeah,
initially, when you had reached out to me on LinkedIn, so you were also doubtful that okay, whether this much time is
yes,
enough. It's more about getting into the flow and starting the preparation, because once you are in the flow, the 2 hours becomes 3 hours and 4 hours. You still put in
yes,
and you clear the exam that way. So I'm
correct,
really
correct.
happy for this. Now I would request you to give 3 tips from your experience of how to clear SCR exam.
So, I will say, first of all, you need to read the chapter or the notes. The notes provided by you is just awesome, I will say. It has covered all the points slide by slide. So, you need to go through because one time reading will just give you an idea what you are going to read. Second time will give you more. Third, at least three times, I will say. You need to read the book or notes three times to have an
Right.
interconnection between all the chapters. The secondly is there is the question papers are quite, means at the end of the each chapter you will have questions, but that is nothing, means the level difficulty level is very easy. So we need the more mock sample papers where pure mock sample papers help a lot, particularly after every chapter you had about 40-50 questions. So because while reading, if you miss a point, you will do it wrong in the questions, and then you will go back and read. That was quite helpful. This to third is many a times you will feel that the topics are confusing. That is what I got with chapter six or chapter seven kind. But reread it kind of two, three times, and then you can kind of find interconnect from chapter three, how chapter six is connected. So
Right.
you need to go keep on reading the chapters again. So these are the three things
Okay.
I can say.
Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. So thank you, Mayank. I mean, thank you very much for talking to us and giving an insight on your journey of preparing. So very, very interesting inputs that we got today. So, and definitely this is going to be very helpful for a lot of students who are preparing for their exam in 2024. So thank you very much for sharing the journey.